How you doing today,
How are
Billy?
you, man? Wow, if we felt any better, we'd be twins.
I have patterned my beard after yours, but I just can't get the length or the girth. So,
Well, let it fly, as they say. Let it fly.
how you doing these days, Billy? A new album coming out?
Yeah, June 4 is the official release date for the new one called Hardware, and I got to say it's a really romping, stomping excursion into the former unknown. Now it is known. I was joined with my guitar slinging buddy, Mr. Austin Hanks, and of course Matt Sorum on drums. It was a real nice balance between what most folks know me as tiptoeing into the studio with Dusty Hill and Frank Beard, the man with no beard. This time it's an excursion with Austin and Matt. Matt, of course, getting his initial chops playing with The Cult, then Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver. And Austin Hanks is no stranger to the studio. So the three of us got in there and just with blank paper in one hand and a pencil in the other, we started peeling the onion.
That's awesome. I was listening to My Lucky Card yesterday. I like it because it's very crunchy, and believe me, this is a compliment. The only thing I could think of when I heard it, I go, if the devil had a narrator for when he comes back, it would be Billy Gibbons.
I'll take it.
It was such a cool, crunchy, like you don't hear that all the time now. You don't get those good, crunchy, bluesy rock songs anymore, and it's kind of sad. And then you come around with this, and it's like, oh, that's what the world needs.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Crunchy is a pretty fitting descriptive way to get inside this group of 12 tracks from Hardware. We started with a phone call. Austin and Matt rang up and they said, "Hey, we're sitting in the hot rod. We got room for you to hop in." So they came and scooped me up and out to Joshua Tree in the middle of the desert. We found a studio that the doors were open. Man, at 120 degrees outside, it was very crunchy.
Billy Gibbons joining me on the line right now, talking about Hardware coming out June 4. What was the hardest song on this album to put together?
I believe it might have been the closing track, which is called Desert High. And we made it a point to put our heads together and scribble out a few thoughts on what the desert had come to mean from the months that we were able to put this together song by song. There was not a day that went by that wasn't surrounded with the mysteries of the desert. And you could read about the desert, you can see photographs, and once you step foot inside the perimeter, there's some kind of energy that surrounds you. It's a bit difficult to describe, but we did our best, and I think you'll hear it on the closing number, Desert High. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tom Waits step out of the shadows with his finger pointing, saying, "Okay, you're getting close. You're getting close."
Billy F. Gibbons joining me on the line right now to talk about Hardware. You're kind of, and this was from this stood out to me. You're kind of into the paranormal and that energy side, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff out there that doesn't even have a name yet, but you kind of feel it. You know,
yeah.
You know something's going on out there.
The reason it stuck out to me because there's so much, that you could talk about with Billy F. Gibbons, the beard, the guitars, the cars, whether or not you know where your 10 millimeter is. And then I saw the line about paranormal, and I'm like, I did not know you were into that stuff.
Yes. On any given night, I'll be standing on the balcony staring skyward.
Billy F. Gibbons on the line right now, Hardware coming out. If there was one song that if you're going to tell people to listen to one song off this new album and say, this is the one that's going to hook you and make you want to listen to the whole thing, which one would you tell them to start with?
Yeah, West Coast Junkie was the first track that began the process. We actually arrived at the studio a couple of days before the equipment had the opportunity to show up, but Matt found a set of drums in one corner, and Austin Hanks and I found guitars in the other, and we plugged it up, and away we go. The crazy thing was the guitars, they were old antique Fenders, and they were plugged into some old Fender amplifiers. The sound was more like something you'd hear from the 60s. It was definitely surf-approved we're playing surf music when we're miles and miles away from the nearest drop of water. So, yeah, it was kind of curious, but we pressed onward.
I liked it. It was kind of, I don't want to say it was kind of out there, but, I mean, going up against a song like My Lucky Card, like we talked about earlier, it is a different feel and a different sound.
Yeah, when you take a step into the unknown, it's followed with what you think might be a little more familiar. But each day was a breath of fresh air. We decided to keep blank paper in one hand and a pencil in the other, and that's the only way to break the spell of doing nothing is to do something.
Yeah.
So that's what we were doing every day.
How many, when you guys go through this process, because there's always songs that don't kind of make it, how many did you guys write in this process?
Oh, we had both hands full, and the good news, when I like to say it was a nice balance. Frank and Dusty were holding the fort down back on the Texas side of things. And I was feeding song ideas from our work in California. It went straight back to Texas, and I got to say that there's probably some elements left over from what became Hardware that went straight back to starting a new project with Frank and Dusty. It's going to be interesting.
Awesome. Billy F. Gibbons joining me to talk about Hardware coming out June 4th. I know you're on a tight schedule today. The album comes out next week, next Friday, June 4. What else is coming up for Billy F. Gibbons?
Well, I think it'd be fair to say we're standing in line with just about everybody that has been waiting to get back to being able to kick up their heels and get out and enjoy the thing. I do think the beat on the street is that the curtain is slowly rising. So, let's hope things continue to thaw out. Let's get to it.
All right. Billy F. Gibbons joining me on the line. Best of luck to you, sir. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it, okay?
Always good to hear your voice. I'll see you around the corner, man.
All right. Take it easy, Billy. Have a good day.
Have mercy.